بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In the first session, part 1, regarding timed marriage, we discussed that the norm in Islam is the permanent marriage, establishing family, raising children, staying together, having long-term commitment, lifelong commitment. However, there are exceptions. Sometimes a person, be it male or female, his or her circumstances do not help to establish a family and raise children. They don't want to raise children. It's up to them. They don't want to be in a permanent relationship where there is a lifelong commitment. They need to be together with another person, not necessarily living with him or her in the same house, but they meet from time to time. They need to remain friends with each other, but she has to be single, not married. The lady has to be single, not married. So Islam came and permitted, in the Qur'an, permitted something called timed marriage, temporary marriage. A marriage, ordinary marriage, the only thing it has is that the time has to be prescribed. If the time is not prescribed, it will be automatically considered a permanent marriage. So the time has to be mentioned. The time, it's up to the tawafuq, the agreement of both. It could be short, it could be medium, it could be 50 years long. It's up to them. Let me show you what the Imams of Ahlul Bayt say. This is an important book of the hadith of Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt are the successors, infallible successors to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kitab al-Kafi. Shaykh al-Kulaini died in 328 Hijri. Shurut al-Mut'ah. It has conditions. Some people say this is fornication, out of arrogance, out of ignorance sometimes. Right away, this is fornication, this is zina. But it has shurut, it has condition. Listen to the shurut, listen to the condition. And Abu Basir is one of the companions of the Imams. لا بد من أن تقول في هذه الشروط أتزوجك متعة كذا وكذا يوما بكذا وكذا درهم. Number 1, I'm marrying you. A temporary marriage for such and such days, for such and such bride wealth, dowry, marriage gift. Mahar. Nikahan غير سفاح. It's a marriage, it's not fornication. Marriage. Our relationship is based on marriage, Islamic marriage. على كتاب الله تعالى. Based on the book of God. Fornication is not based on the book of God. Adultery is not based on the book of God. This is based on the book of God. وَسُنَّةِ نَبِيِّهِ, and the sunnah of the Prophet, because the Prophet commanded his companions to practice it. He gave them, as we're going to see soon, he gave them permission to practice it in different occasions, in different places, and he did not forbid them after that. And he did not cancel it. And he did not go back on his opinion and say, oh, stop. Hey, guys, stop. You created a mess. He never said that. And the companions, they practiced it, as we're going to see from the Sunni books, during the time of the Prophet, during the time of Abu Bakr, and during most of the time of Umar. It was Umar who came at the end of his reign for some reasons. God knows what was in his mind. And he prohibited this type of marriage. So, وَسُنَّةِ نَبِيِّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم وَعَلَىٰ أَنْ لَا تَرِثِينِي وَلَا أَرِثُكِ. there is no inheritance between us. But, according to other hadiths, if the wife or the husband, both, decided there would be an inheritance, then there would be an inheritance. It becomes binding. But if they decide there is no inheritance between us, then there is no inheritance between them. وعلى أن تعتدي 45 يوما, after our time is over, you have to go through a waiting period. You cannot jump into another man's lap immediately after that. As some Sunni, unfortunately, bigots, scholars, but they are bigots, like Rashid Rida, as I am going to show you. Rashid Rida wrote a tafsir, commentary on the Qur'an called Al-Manar, but he played some irresponsibility there. He was not responsible enough. And God says, when you speak, be careful. أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين. Don't hurt, don't accuse some people wrongly. But unfortunately, he was not careful enough or responsible enough. Now he's with his God. Let him answer God on the Day of Judgment now. He's gone from this life. He did what he did. He did the damage. Let him answer God. He says the Shia believe that there is no iddah, there is no waiting period after the temporary marriage. He's wrong. He's wrong. There is a waiting period. 45 يوما وقال بعضهم حيضة. Either there is 45 days waiting period, a month and a half, or in some hadiths, one menstrual cycle, or in other hadiths, حيضتان, 2 menstrual cycles after the time is over. Okay. Now, let's go to باب ما يجب على المرأة من عدة المتعة. This is the book of hadith of Ahl al-Bayt, وسائل الشيعة, written by a Lebanese scholar, Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Hurr al-Amili, died 1104 Hijri, almost 340 years ago. So there is waiting period. عن أبي عبد الله أنه قال إن كانت تحيض فحيضة. If she's still during her menstrual cycle, then one menstrual cycle for her to clear herself, the waiting period. And if it is not during menopause, then she would wait 45 days. And some put it at 2 months, some of the ahadith. وعدتها حيضتان ولا تحل لغيرك, on behalf of Imam al-Baqir عليه السلام, عن أبي جعفر عليه السلام في المتعة, ولا تحل لغيرك حتى تنقضي عدتها وعدتها حيضتان. In fact, 2 menstrual cycles she has to wait in this hadith. And if her husband dies while she's still married to him during the temporary marriage, تعتد 4 أشهر وعشرة, just like the permanent marriage. If she's married to someone, a temporary marriage, let's say for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and something happens to him, he catches coronavirus, COVID-19, and he dies, she has to wait 4 months and 10 days. So what Muhammad Rashid Rida says in his book Al-Manar, the Egyptian commentator on the Qur'an, is wrong, absolutely wrong. He's accusing the followers of Ahl al-Bayt of something that either he doesn't know or he knows, but it is racism, bigotry, and bias against the followers of Ahl al-Bayt. And I'm going to show you where he says this in his book, Al-Manar, Tafsir al-Manar. So my friends, let's go here and see. Now, both Sunnis and Shias agree that it was permissible in Islam during the time of the Prophet. The disagreement is, however, that whether the Prophet himself prohibited it or Umar, and whether Umar has the right to do so or not. Some Sunnis say the Prophet did prohibit the temporary marriage. After making it lawful, then he went back and he made it unlawful. Other Sunnis say no, it was okay during the time of the Prophet until his death. It was okay. It was permissible. Umar came later on during his reign and he stopped it. So this is Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm died in 456. He's from Andalusia. He's a proponent of Umayyad dynasty. He is Ibn Hazm in his book Al-Muhalla, one of his books, Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi, is not in a good term with Ahlul Bayt. And definitely not in a good term with Shia Islam, with the followers of Ahlul Bayt. In fact, he considered the mastermind of Salafism even before Ibn Taymiyyah, before Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, before Ibn Kathir. Before those people, Ibn Hazm was the first one who used diatribe and maligned Shia Islam. So he's the first Salafi who does not tolerate Shia Islam. This is his book, Al-Muhalla, book of fiqh, important in the Sunni tradition. And let's come to page 519. This is volume 9. Volume 9, and this is page 519 in his book. Mas'alatun. Mas'ala, question number 1854. He says, وقد ثبت على تحليلها وكان حلالا على عهد رسول الله. He says timed marriage. This is a Sunni scholar, Ibn Hazm, one of the greatest Sunni scholars. He admits that the timed marriage was permissible during the time of the Prophet. كان حلالا على عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. ثم نسخها الله تعالى على لسان رسوله. He believes that it was abrogated by God. وقد ثبت, but here he admits again that stayed on the opinion, remained on the opinion of permissibility and being halal and legitimate بعد رسول الله. وقد ثبت على تحليلها بعد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم جماعة من السلف رضي الله عنهم منهم من الصحابة. He says the early communities, the early people, Salaf. This is the meaning of Salaf. Among them, some of the companions of the Prophet said and believed that it was halal after the Prophet. And nothing has changed. The rule was not changed. It was not prohibited. Minhum, among them a lady, the daughter of Abu Bakr, Asma bint Abi Bakr as-Siddiq. Asma, a lady, the daughter of Abu Bakr, she believed that the timed marriage or temporary marriage was permissible after the Prophet. وجابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري, one of the greatest companions of the Prophet. وعبد الله ibn Mas'ud, another great companion, iconic figure. Another commentator on the Qur'an, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. وعبدullah ibn Abbas, the greatest among the companions of the Prophet. Those are heavyweight figures. Heavyweight companions. Those are not secondary. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari is the closest companion to the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Abbas is a companion. Though he died, when the Prophet died, he was 10 years old. But he's considered an important companion of the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. And then according to him, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. This is very ironic. Of course, Mut'ah served Muawiyah, of course. He served his desire. وعمرو بن حريث, another companion. وأبو سعيد الخدري, another companion of the Prophet. وسلمة ومعبد أبناء أمية بن خلف. ورواه جابر بن عبد الله عن جميع الصحابة مدة رسول الله. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, the companion, he narrated the story that of the permissibility, legitimacy of this type of marriage, temporary marriage, from all the companions of the Prophet during the life of the Prophet. Not one or two or three or four, all companions. So it was very famous. People were aware that this type of marriage was permissible during the time of the Prophet. And none of them said it has been prohibited, except very few, which we're going to see them. Some isolated incidents by isolated narrations. خبر الواحد, one person. عن جميع الصحابة مدة رسول الله. So he says, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, that it was permissible during the time of the Prophet. ومدة أبي بكر وعمر إلى قرب آخر خلافة عمر. This is Ibn Hazm. Says Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. Says timed marriage was permissible during the entire time of the Prophet, the entire time of Abu Bakr, and sometime during the time of Umar until the end of his reign. Not the beginning, not the middle, the end of the reign of Umar ibn al-Khattab. So this is Ibn Hazm. وَمِنَ التَّابِعِينَ, those are the companions. Then the second generation, تابعين, طاووس وعطاء وسعيد بن جبير وسائر فقهاء مكة أعزها الله. Most of the jurists in the city of Mecca, they are on the belief that it was permissible during the time of the Prophet, the time of Abu Bakr, and most of the time of Umar. Not some, most of the time of Umar. وصح تحريمها عن ابن عمر. Ibn Umar, he decided that it has been not permissible. Ibn Umar, the son of the second caliph. Now I mentioned earlier, my friends, Jami' al-Bayan al-Tabari in the first part of these sessions, that he said it is mentioned in the Qur'an. This is Muhammad ibn Jabir al-Tabari. And we also mentioned the opinion of Fakhr al-Razi in the second part. And now we mention the opinion of Ibn Kathir, maybe the third most important tafsir after Qurtubi, maybe the fourth, the fifth. I really don't know. I don't know how to grade them. But I know this is number one tafsir. Al-Tabari, Al-Razi is number two. Ibn Kathir, it could be in Syria. If you go to Syria, if you go to the Umayyad region, this is considered number one, Ibn Kathir. But if you go to other areas, maybe this is number 6, 7, 10. I really don't know. Again, let's share with you. This is volume number 1. وَقَدْ اسْتَدَلَّ, when he comes to ayah number 24. Chapter number 4, Surah An-Nisa. وقد استدل بعموم هذه الآية على نكاح المتعة ولا شك أنه كان مشروعا في ابتداء الإسلام. وقد استدل, it has been, this verse has been used as an evidence that the timed marriage was permissible in the beginning of Islam. ثم نسخ بعد ذلك. He says then it was abrogated. وقد ذهب الشافعي, Imam الشافعي وطائفة من العلماء, other groups of scholars, إلى أنه أبيح ثم نسخ مرتين. That this marriage was made permissible, but then it was cancelled or abrogated twice. وقال آخرون أكثر من ذلك. The Prophet makes it okay, and then he makes it not okay. And then he comes back, he makes it okay, you can marry temporary marriage, and then after that he says no. And then he comes back, The Prophet was playing games. Astaghfirullah. It's like the stock market. Goes up and down, fluctuates. One day is halal, one day is haram. This is religion of God? This is the religion of God? وقد روي عن ابن عباس, Ibn Kathir says, it has been narrated on behalf of the companions, Abdullah ibn Abbas, وطائفة من الصحابة, another group of the companions, القول بإباحتها للضرورة وهو رواية عن الإمام أحمد. Ibn Abbas and other companions say, if it is necessary, then still even now, you can practice it. If it is necessary, للضرورة. For instance, your wife is not with you. You are traveling, you are alone, you are in other country. I don't know. I don't know what is the reason, but if it is necessary. And also Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his book, Musnadul Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, also he says, he mentions on behalf of Ibn Abbas that the timed marriage, the temporary marriage is okayed, is permissible if there is a need for it. And then he adds, وكان ابن عباس وأبي بن كعب وسعيد بن جبير والسدي يقرؤون. They would read this verse as follows. Verse 24 in chapter 4, Surah An-Nisa, فَمَا اسْتَمْتَعْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْهُنَّ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. They add this sentence to it. إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. Up to a certain prescribed time. فآتوهن أجورهن فريضة. وقال مجاهد نزلت في نكاح المتعة. So this is what Ibn Kathir says in Tafsir al-Qur'an al-Azim. What else? Let's have a look at كتب الستة. Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah. Let's go here. Let's go to Bukhari. Bukhari in hadith number 5117. عن جابر بن عبد الله وسلمة بن الأكوع قال كنا في جيش فأتانا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. We were in a military expedition. The messenger of the messenger of God came to us. فقال إنه قد أذن لكم أن تستمتعوا فاستمتعوا. It has been given permission to you to marry on a temporary basis, then you may marry on a temporary basis. وسمعت ابن عباس حدثنا شعبة in the same Bukhari عن أبي جمرة قال سمعت ابن عباس يسأل عن متعة النساء فرخص. I heard Abdullah ibn Abbas being asked about his opinion on this issue, the temporary marriage. فرخص, he gave permission. فقال له مولا له إنما ذلك في الحال الشديد وفي النساء قلة. Is this when we are under extreme pressure and there are no, our women are not with us? أو نحوه. فقال ابن عباس نعم. Ibn Abbas said yes. So not under normal circumstances. Whenever there is a necessity, according to this hadith. But then, look at Bukhari here, my friends. Hadith 5119. Let me read it for you. عن أبيه عن رسول الله عن إياس بن سلمة ابن الأكوع عن أبيه عن رسول الله. Companion narrates on behalf of the Prophet in Bukhari. أيما رجل وامرأة توافقا فعشرة ما بينهما 3 ليال فإن أحبا أن يتزايدا أو يتتاركا تتاركا. The Prophet said, any man and women get together and they want to be together, they want to have intimacy together, of course the wife has to be single, not married. Then the minimum requirement is that they stay 3 days. After these 3 days, if they love, they can extend. If they don't, tataraka, they can end it, terminate it. So, if the Prophet gives permission for 3 days, what do you call this? Do you call this permanent or a type of temporary? Definitely this is temporary, and the Prophet permitted that, and it is in Sahih al-Bukhari. Now we come to Sahih Muslim. Plenty of hadiths. I'm just taking, bit and pieces. إن رسول الله قد أذن لكم أن تستمتعوا يعني متعة النساء. This is a hadith. قدم جابر بن عبد الله معتمرا فجئناه في منزله. He came to the Umrah. We came to his house. فسأله القوم عن أشياء. People asked him about different, because he's companion of the Prophet. He heard the Prophet. He was with the Prophet. ثم ذكروا المتعة. Then they asked him about temporary marriage. فقال نعم استمتعنا على عهد رسول الله وأبي بكر وعمر. We did a practice timed marriage during the time of the Prophet and Abu Bakr and Umar. وجابر سمعت جابر بن عبد الله يقول كنا نستمتع بالقبضة من التمر والدقيق الأيام على عهد رسول الله وأبي بكر حتى نهى عنه عمر. It was Umar who came and he stopped this. He forbade this. In another hadith فعلناها مع رسول الله ثم نهانا عنها عمر. خرجنا مع رسول الله عام الفتح إلى مكة. He says the hadith that the Prophet gave permission, and عام الفتح was the 8th year. إن نبي الله عام فتح مكة أمر أصحابه بالتمتع من النساء. This is in Sahih Muslim, my friends. So these are the hadiths of the school of caliphs, the school of companions. Speaks about this type of marriage being practiced during the time of the Prophet, the reign of Abu Bakr, his successor, the reign of the second caliph, second successor to the Prophet, Umar ibn al-Khattab. Now we come to the hadith of Ahl al-Bayt, the family of the Prophet, and that would be in the third part, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.